Well, yesterday was a really good day for the market. What a recovery we saw. And this morning as well, global markets have staged a good recovery overnight too. The Dow recovered quite a bit from its lows. The SGX Nifty is suggesting a flat start, but let's see which way it goes. For now, lots of stocks in focus this morning. Let's get straight to it. Vivek is joining in first up with some data on the Adani Group stocks. Vivek, over to you.
Well, good morning. So in an exchange notification last evening, there's been an additional pledge that has been created in two of the Adani Group stocks. So Adani Transmission as well as Adani Green, there's been an additional pledge creation. In Adani Transmission, there's 0.76% further creation of pledge, and this is again towards SBI Cap Trustee. In Adani Green, there's a 0.99% additional pledge that's been created in favor of SBI Cap Trustee. Now remember, on February 8th of 2023, there was an additional pledge that was already created, and 1.6 crore shares towards the entire group was actually done. And at that time, the SBI chairman had clearly mentioned that this was mainly used to top up collateral for existing loans. And in fact, the additional pledges were not for a new loan or any new pledges, and this was something that was quite clearly mentioned. Now, in fact, on February 13th, there was also a small release of the pledge. So, the overall pledging of shares as well as the share-backed financing in the Adani Group continues to remain in focus, going with the red on both of these names.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vivek. Let's hop across to Nimesh. He's here to tell us about a couple of large trades that took place yesterday, and he had given us a heads up as well that it was likely to happen. Nimesh?
Hi, Nigel. So, as you rightly pointed out, two large blocks, Shriram Finance and Kirloskar Oil, and that actually had an impact on the FI data as well in yesterday's trade. Coming on Shriram Finance, there was large confirmation of APEC partner was a seller, largely a clean out trade. So they sold close to 3% equity in Shriram Finance yesterday, and the big buyer was Capital International. Across two of its funds, they bought close to 70 lakh shares. The total deal size was 1,400 crores, and that got reflected in the FI data yesterday. The second was Kirloskar Oil. Again, in that stock, a big overhang is out of the way. One of the promoter entities sold close to 13% stake. Even in Kirloskar Oil, there was a mix of domestic mutual funds and insurance companies were buyers. So Nippon AMC, DSP Mutual Fund, Birla Mutual Fund, Max Life, all these were buyers in the block deal, and the seller was Kulkarni family. So even in that stock, the large overhang is out of the way, and hence both the stock recovered in yesterday's trade and will go with green in today's trade as well.
Okay, got that, Nimesh. Thanks very much. Vivek, you're watching for a couple of stocks, Data Patterns and Gokuldas. What's the news?
Well, good morning. So two source-based stories. Data Patterns, we understand that the company has launched a QIP, and this QIP is to raise almost 450 crores. That is the base size of the deal, and upsize optional of further 50 crores is something that is there. And we understand, the management had alluded to this likely QIP, in the conference call as well. We understand that the floor price for this particular QIP is 1,284.5 rupees per share. Interestingly, Gokuldas Exports, one promoter entity, Clearwealth Consultancy Services, we understand is likely to sell almost 8.25% stake in the company. So the block deal size is over 230 crore, and the floor price for this particular block deal is set at 390 rupees a share, over 4% discount to yesterday's closing. Now remember, at the end of the December quarter, they held over 20.5%, and even in the past, they've been paring down their stake. It'll be interesting to see, who are the buyers in this particular block deal. Quite a large block deal as far as Gokuldas is concerned.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that. Well, the other stock that we are watching this morning is Bharat Forge. Now, I'm expecting the stock to be in the green. The company has announced a e-bike manufacturing facility at Chakan in Pune. Now, this facility has a production capacity of 60,000 units per annum currently, electric bikes, and that can be scaled up to 100,000 units per annum. So this is positive for them in terms of earnings potential. They will undertake this assembly of electric bikes for Tork Motors Private Limited, which is 64% owned by Kalyani Powertrain Limited. So I'm going with green for Bharat Forge. I'm going with green for Kalyani Steel, as well as it may mean more business for them as they put together, electric bikes for Tork Motors. So going with green over there.
Okay, all right. We'll keep an eye out on that group. Then Mangalam joins us to tell us about Shoppers Stop. Morning, Mangalam.
Good morning. So Shoppers Stop has made an announcement. They've entered into an agreement for distribution for a Japanese brand called Shiseido. Now, Shiseido is a popular Japanese beauty brand, very old. 1872 is when it was launched, so about 150 years old. They will launch the global makeup brand called NARS Cosmetic in the second half of this calendar year, right in time for the festive season as well. While this is a positive move, something that could limit the gains is the fact that this is not an exclusive arrangement with Shoppers Stop. In fact, I just did a cursory Google search, and Shiseido products are available in India on Nykaa as well as the Sephora platforms. So it'll be interesting to see what is the incremental sale that can come by from Shoppers Stop to Shiseido, but more importantly, from Shiseido to Shoppers Stop.
Okay, Mangalam, thanks very much. So interesting. There seems to be a gold rush underway when the beauty, when it comes to the beauty business.
Yeah,
so much going on.
I'm a big fan of NARS products. I'm so happy NARS has finally come to India
There you
for
go.
the longest time. But
Now we know where the demand is coming from.
But as he said, right? I mean, Shiseido products are also going to be available on Nykaa. So it's not that you can.
Where
just
will
have
you
to go
buy?
to-
Shoppers Stop or Nykaa? That's the market
That's
question.
in the
So I have Nykaa on my phone and I have Shoppers Stop next to my house. So I have both the options available.
All right, well, let's hop across to Ekta. She's here to wind this down with other stocks around the news. Ekta?
Thanks for that. Well, I'll start with Sequent, where they've terminated an acquisition which they had announced on November 7, 2022, which is basically Tineta Pharma. It's an India-focused livestock company. The acquisition was for an enterprise value of around 218 crores. Ramkrishna Forging is the other one that I'm looking at. Wholly owned subsidiary is formed for the company, which is RKFL Engineering, and it was incorporated on 6th March 2023 to implement the resolution plan under CIRP for GMT Autos. So these are the two stocks that I'm watching.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ekta, for that. Here's a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow. You have Shriram Finance, Kirloskar Oil Engines, Bharat Forge, Sequent Scientific, Ramkrishna Forgings and Shoppers Stop. While stocks with negative news flow, there's Adani Transmission, Adani Green, Data Patterns, as well as Gokuldas Exports. All right, we'll also get a quick handle on what's happening in the world of commodities. There's lots there. Brent crude has been on a downslide for the last few days. Manisha Gupta is joining in for a roundup of all the action. Manisha, as we head into the March end meeting of the Fed, I guess it's going to be like this, a bit volatile in the commodity markets?
Oh, well, absolutely. Yes, it's going to be very choppy. And, ahead of that, you have the U.S. non-farm payroll data coming in on Friday. So that would really set the direction on how we see the week ending and the next week beginning. But as you rightly pointed out, yes, we have seen choppy moves here, and the crude oil prices have continued to decline. Today is the third straight day of a downtrend, and we have seen 5% of a decline come in for the crude oil prices in this week itself, even as the U.S. inventories snapped the 10-week of inventory build-up, and the stocks did gain by 1.69 billion barrels. Even then, there has been no support here, really. On the other side, you have precious metal prices, which also have continued to decline. Silver is trading at a 4-month lows, gold at a 2-month lows as well. But some support is what we saw in the last 24 hours come in for the metal prices. So copper saw some strength. Steel and iron ore are back around those 7 to 8 month highs. China has confirmed on further stimulus to infrastructure and construction sectors, and China also enters peak construction season as we head into the next quarter. So those are some of the factors which would be supportive for the industrial metals to begin with.
Okay, got that, Manisha. Thanks very much. We'll keep all those cues on the radar. Quick break at the moment. On the other side, Amisha Vora of Prabhudas Lilladher joins in. We'll discuss a couple of interesting stock ideas with her. We will also connect with J.K. Arora of Som Distilleries and Breweries to discuss their business outlook. Stay tuned.